The chances are, if you even have a passing interest in video games, you've probably seen something about them on TV at one stage or another. It could have been an advert for an upcoming game or console, someone playing a game on your favourite soap opera or TV show, or if you were lucky enough, an actual show dedicated completely to them. I mean, sure, an unbelievable 40 plus countries had to endure Hugo, a small friendly troll 220 years of age that was controlled by pressing digits on their phones, but there are so many other shows you probably haven't witnessed. I mean, think about it. Different regions, languages, censorship, all these things can affect what you can and cannot view in your locality. But fear not, today I will take you on a journey around the world to see some of the weird and wonderful shows you may have missed. Up first is Arena, airing between 2002 and 2004, and originally hosted by Will Wheaton and Travis Oates. Arena featured teams playing multiplayer video games in LAN party format. Many of the show's episodes revolved around tournaments, and games like Call of Duty and Unreal 2004 were played. Wheaton and Oates actually both quit their jobs hosting the show, with Wheaton stating in a Slashdot posting that their producer, Jim Downs, was an amateur, horribly unprofessional, and that he treated both him and Oates in shocking contempt and disrespect. They were both then replaced by Lee Reherman and Michael Loudon, both of who are now sadly deceased, with final hosts Lee Reherman, still alive at the time, and Kevin Pereira seeing out the show till its conclusion. The last few episodes were actually shot in succession and banked, so the Studio 3 in G4's old headquarters, could be used to film new and upcoming shows. Bad Influence ran on Children's ITV on Thursday afternoons for 4 series between 1992 and 1996. Presented by then Children's TV presenters Violet Berlin and Andy Crane, the show looked at video games and computer technology. There was also a cheat segment featuring a character called Namrud, played by Andy Weir, who went on later to appear in soap opera called Emmerdale. Namrud's gimmick was to mock viewers and then give them cheats he'd written on cards that he would stick on his forehead. During 3 of its 4 series on the air, Bad Influence actually had the highest ratings for any children's ITV programme at the time, so it probably wasn't a shock that when the 4th season ended, a rumour circulated that Bad Influence would be remarketed for a younger audience and ultimately a 5th series. This unfortunately was never to be. Bits aired on Channel 4 and ran for a total of 5 seasons from 1999 to 2001 with an all-female presenting team. Both the late night and censored morning version of the show was shown, and a number of special episodes are produced where the presenters would face off against pro gamers in one-on-one battles. The games chosen were usually new releases on the various consoles of the time, and as well as these segments, the show also featured sketches, short reviews and news clips of current and upcoming games. Blister was actually the first show to air on the G4 network when it launched in 2002. Averaging 20 or so minutes an episode, it ran until 2004 and was hosted by Bill Cylinder. The series reviewed and previewed action-adventure games and had interviews with game developers and players alike, and it even attended events like E3. Cylinder even had 3 special episodes searching for the 1981 arcade game and urban legend, Polybliss, which was entitled Blister Declassified. The 3rd and final episode of this actually never aired. Charlie Brooker's Games Wipe was a one-off special on video game culture hosted by Charlie Brooker himself. Charlie is a writer, broadcaster and satirist known for such programs as Dead Set, Black Mirror and Brass Eye. In Games Wipe we got previews of video games, insight into the game industry, as well as a few well-known personalities popping up to give their opinions. Brooker also had 2 other specials called Screen Wipe and News Wipe, and even though Games Wipe received mixed reviews, it outdid both of the other Wipe specials, pulling in 361,000 views during its initial screening in 2009. Cheat is another show from the G4 stable. Originally hosted by Corey Ruse, it first aired in 2002. The show's premise, which is fairly easy to deduce from the title, was to provide cheat codes, strategies and point out hidden features in video games. It was actually one of G4's more popular shows, earning its sponsorship from Pringles and a rebrand as Cheat Pringles Gamers Guides. In 2005, Corey Ruse was replaced by Kirsten Adams, her of former American Idol contestant fame. And even with a dwindling audience, Cheat ran for 2 more seasons with Adams in charge. Consolevania is a video games-based TV show that ran from 2004 to 2009. Filmed in Glasgow, Scotland, the show's name tips its hat to Castlevania and was chosen by forum members. The show's first episode was shot during the summer of 2004 and was actually posted out to people in CD format. Hosts covered console and PC games, and the show has acquired a cult following online. Consolevania's popularity proved true, and as of January 2017 it was announced that a new series of Consolevania was planned. Cybernet was a weekly video games program that ran for an insane 13 years, and it had as many as 5 presenters, none of whom appeared on screen. The show was broadcast overnight on ITV and featured reviews, previews, tips and reports on new and upcoming technology. The show proved successful, and due to the lack of on-screen presenter, it was also broadcasted overseas in places as diverse as Brazil, Chile, Israel, Czech Republic, Morocco, Ireland, and even the Middle East during its long run from 1998 to 2010. Cyberzone was a 1993 video game TV series hosted by Craig Charles. The man was some whore for TV appearances in the 90s. In the typical over-the-top style that he was known for, Charles would try and rally up a crowd of 20-something-ish-old adults as 2 contestants stomped on pressure pads to move around an awkward virtual reality world. They would move or use a handheld pointer to perform an action, but could not do both at once. As one player aimed to progress through the world, the other would try and block him in his or her path. The contestants switched places for a second round. It was the world's first virtual reality video game show, but even with a third round where you could knock points off your opponent, it wasn't massively interesting to watch, even with Craig Charles roaring as he does. Because of this, it's no surprise it only ran for 1 season. Another G4 show, Filter, originally ran from 2002 to 2006. One of the original G4 debut series, it focused on video game genres and each week a new theme was selected. Viewers would then choose the top 10 to be featured on the show, with the top 2 games entering a filter face-off where the winner would be eventually revealed. Topics used on the show range from best Dreamcast games, worst games of all time, most controversial games, and much, much more.
It was a bond she thought could never be broken.
Game Center CX, also known as Retro Game Master, is a Japanese show based on video games. It airs bi-weekly at midnight on Thursday and is hosted by Shinji Arino. Since first airing, the show has revolved around him playing games from decades gone by and attempting to finish them within a single day. There's even clips of Shinji doing interviews, visiting local arcades and speaking to game designers, mixed in throughout the episodes to keep them interesting. Gamepad, the self-professed by gamers for gamers TV show, aired from 2001 to 2004 and was hosted by Violet Berlin. It covered everything from Windows, Mac OS, PS2, GameCube and Xbox consoles, and only ran for 4 series before it was replaced by a new series in 2004. GamePro TV was a video game TV show that ran weekly from 1990 to 1991 and was actually a partner to GamePro magazine. The show covered everything from NES, SNES, Game Boy, Genesis and TurboGrafx-16, and viewers could even get involved by sending in recordings of themselves explaining tips or codes for games. Viewers' mail was also regularly answered on air.
Welcome aboard the Carnival Cruise Line.
Games World was broadcast each weekday from 1993 to 1998. Similarly to another show at the time, contestants would take on challenges. The difference here was that it was an elimination contest, with the winner going forward to Friday's episode, where they would face off against others, and the eventual winner receiving the coveted Games World Bomber jacket. This series winner received an arcade machine.
We'll have your local forecast, but right now let's take a peek at some other conditions across the Northeast.
Games Master aired from 1992 to 1998 and was the first ever TV show dedicated to video games in the UK. It featured game reviews, tips from the Games Master Patrick Moore, and challenges for contestants. Patrick Moore's Games Master segment was pre-recorded, but a very catchy part of the show, with initial host Dominic Diamond or Dexter Fletcher, the third series host, manning the rest of the show and the challenges. During these, he was joined by a commentator like Neil West, Brad Burton, Dave Perry, Derek Lynch or more to call the action. If the challenger completed the task set before them, they would receive the coveted Games Master Golden Joystick Trophy. The show also reviewed games for all the current and upcoming games of the time.
Wait, that's not a light switch.
Great, now I really am all wet. Is this window a way out?
Not unless you're super...
Gamesville ran for 2 series from 2003 to 2004 and was presented by models Jamie Atco and Darren Malcolm. Gamesville actually ended up with its hour-long slot 5 nights a week because of a severance package promised to production company Shine Limited, who were promised several hundred hours of commissioned programming by Sky One at the time. So each day of the 5-day working week, viewers received a mix of reviews and news. As is probably blaringly obvious, the 60 minutes a day slot caused the show to suffer, as only a certain amount of news and reviews are available to cover at the time. This concludes the first part of video game TV shows, but before I go, I have a massive treat for you all. In the description below are links to many playlists, one for each show covered in this episode. Some of them are complete with every episode ever broadcast, and others just partially complete. But rest assured I will work on finding and updating these incomplete playlists if I can. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you next time for part 2.